Welcome everyone to the first round of the FIDE Candidates 2026. We have Fabiano Caruana, who's dubbed by many as the favorite of this tournament, entering in with his team. You can see Grigory Oparin there, you can see Christian Chirila, and there you see Hikaru Nakamura, his opponent, the top seed of the FIDE Candidates, entering in. It's an all-American clash in round one as Hikaru takes on Fabiano Caruana. This is going to be a very exciting battle in the first round. And Hikaru has had a plus score against Fabi, and that is something that Fabi would love to change, especially the fact that he has the white pieces today. And there he enters. And both of them just settle in, and a handshake. While both are from America and I think good friends of each other, both have a very different sort of career path, you can say. Fabiano is completely dedicated to chess. Becoming the world champion is the topmost priority for him. Meanwhile, Hikaru is one of the best streamers in the world. You can say the top streamer. And for him, if he becomes a world champion, that would be a nice add-on. But perhaps it's not as much as he would like, as much as Fabi. And we have here the president of the Cyprus Chess making the first move on the board as the players shake hands with him and the game is about to begin. Will Fabi keep that move e4 on the board? No, he takes it back, and it's 120 minutes for 40 moves without increment, and then 30 minutes with 30-second increment after move 40. So Caruana opens the game with a knight to f3. Hikaru responds with pawn to d5. Well, I'm very excited with what this opening will bring us. We have pawn to c4, the English opening. And will Hikaru push the pawn forward? No, he goes pawn to e6. The queen's gambit declined setup. You go d4 and you transpose it into main d4 territory. But g3 played by Fabi. He puts out his pawn, and now Hikaru goes pawn to d4. He pushes his pawn forward one step ahead. And bishop comes out to g2. This move that Hikaru played with pawn d5 to d4 is a very ambitious move, because you've spent time playing e6, then you also lose another tempo to push your pawn. It also makes the game very sharp. So Fabi castles, he's played this opening recently with Duda, and one of the main ideas here, of course, is to go e3 at some point. Now bishop comes out to c5, and this knight is on g8, which means it could potentially come out on f6 or also on e7, and then later jump to f5, further reinforcing the d pawn. You have e3 played here, and let's see how Hikaru responds back here. He goes knight e7, and he's playing his moves quickly, which means he's in his preparation. And Fabi takes knight d4. Now this is the first new move of the game, and also like this has never been played before. Hikaru doesn't even blink. He takes it super quickly with knight d4. But Fabi has a big surprise for him. Pawn to b4. Now with the piece given up, and whoa, Hikaru even takes this. This is incredible. Takes here. And now important thing to note, some tactics. If you play here, I have a check and you lose the bishop. And if queen a1, I go knight c3 and the queen is trapped on a1. So that doesn't work. You can't take the rook. So castles. Because even if you played queen d4, I mean queen a4 check is big threat. So castles makes a lot of sense. You've now put your king to safety. And d4 pawn is a bit weak. So let's see how Fabi continues. Will he go bishop b2? I think there is an online game here that has been played which went bishop b2 between Stribuk and Swana. But queen b3. first new move again. So somehow through transposition we reached here to the Stribuk versus Sarana game, and now once again we are in virgin territory. Knight c3 played, and if you take here, well, maybe he's ready to play bishop a3. So that's the reason why knight to f5, he wants to take this with his knight, bishop a3, attacking the rook. If you take knight d4, I attack your bishop and then the rook. So that's the reason why maybe rook e8 makes a lot of sense. Yeah, he brings his rook to e8. And now simply pawn push to d5. Yes, he pushes his pawn to d5. And knight jumps into d4. Attacking the queen on b3. And queen a4. Eyeing the bishop and the rook. The position is super complex. I must say this, that it's not a standard position where you can know what's happening. A nice move by Hikaru. His bishop cannot be trapped. Also d6, bishop e6. I'm pretty sure he's happy by giving up this exchange. Fabi says, no thank you. I love my bishop here on g2. I'm not going to give it up for anything right now. Bishop d7 attacks the queen. The queen really doesn't have any good square to go to except queen on d1. He comes back with queen d1. Notice the times on the clock. Hikaru speeding up. He has 57 minutes. Fabi has 57 minutes. Hikaru has 1 hour 6 minutes. Bishop b2 played. Brings his bishop back. The only thing that is actually bothering Hikaru, I think, in this position is bishop on a5. Slightly out of the game, and which is why I think he's preparing this a6 b5 ideas. Also gets the rook off this diagonal. And Caruana goes pawn to a4. He's stopping all b5 plans, keeping this bishop kind of out of the game. If you take here bishop c3, it could be an idea, but then black gives up the bishop pair. So a6 played. And now takes on d5. Takes on e6. Let's see what Hikaru takes back with. He takes back with the bishop, a natural move. And I believe now knight to d5. And yes, knight to d5, he jumps in. So the bishop on a5 is a bit out of the game, while all other pieces of white are playing. So queen d6. And Fabi now gets rid of the knight on d4. So he's given up the bishop pair here. Pawn takes, and he brings his rook to e4, attacking the pawn here on d4. Bishop d5. I wonder if this was the only move, because he could have pushed the pawn as well. He could have played b5. But now because of this trade, we land in an opposite colored bishop position, which should be equal. But black bishop is slightly offside, and Hikaru is trying to get it back into the game. But look at this white bishop. It's beautiful. And h4, I love this move. The reason I love this move is because, you're slowly going to play king g2, rook h1, h5, rook h4, rook f4. You're going to get that rook active in very interesting ways. Queen to f6 played. So king comes up. I think Hikaru here has to be very careful. He plays queen e5. He's playing here without a plan. And Fabi comes in with the queen, firstly attacking the f7 pawn. Hikaru comes back, defends it. Okay, if you take and spoil the structure, that's completely fine for black. So queen g4. And now the bishop comes back, defending here. But the advantage of white is growing. It's incredible how Caruana has managed to somehow outwit Hikaru. Rook h1. He's coming with this plan. Queen g5. Attacking the queen. I mean, you don't want to trade. He comes back queen e7 almost instantly. Trying to put pressure on Fabi. 8 moves to make in 7 minutes. That's why Fabi has to be a little bit careful of what he does on the clock. But now, yes, bishop c6, a good move. He could have also gone rook h4, rook f4. But bishop c6 attacking the rook. Rook c8. And now you go rook e1. The queen is attacked. And queen to c7. You simply drop back the bishop to d5. Eyeing the pawn on f7. So king comes up to to f8 and queen g4. Keeping an eye here. Hikaru brings his rook to d8. We are on move 36. And Fabi goes queen e4. He's eyeing queen h7. Hikaru comes back to g8. And now queen f5. Putting pressure here. Also, you want to get your rook into the game. Queen d7. Offering a trade. No trade, says Fabi. And naturally so, rook f8 played. And now rook e5. That's a nice move. Maybe bishop e4, rook d5, followed by queen f5. He's reached move 40, so he gets up. He's going to get 30 extra minutes on the clock. Bishop d6, attacking the rook. The rook goes to f5. Now a lot of pressure on the f7 point. And queen e7 played. White goes queen g4 with the idea of pressure on g7. The bishop settles down on the e5 square and rook to f3 played. He goes bishop f6. This is such a difficult position for Fabi, for Hikaru, because even though it seems like both bishops are equal in strength, white bishop can create threats while black bishop can't. That's the big problem. Bishop e4, lovely move, threatening maybe queen f5 to h7. Rook e8 played. And now rook f5. You want to get your rook to d5. If rook e5 here, rook f6 wins the game. Nice little tactic there. So queen d7 played, pinning, and queen f4, unpinning. You have bishop to g5. Fabi comes back. f7 is soft, queen c7. But do we have tactics now? Rook takes pawn is happening. 22 minutes for Fabi. Boom, rook takes f7. He finds it. Queen takes, and of course a very important move, bishop d5. And now after rook to e6, another important move, the pinned piece must be attacked. So queen g4 played. King comes to f8. And now bishop takes e6. You are pawn up, and with a completely winning position, Fabi should convert this. But there's a thing about Hikaru. He's very good with defense. Queen a8 check. And you don't want to trade queens. So king g1 played. And now bishop comes back to f6. What's the plan that Fabi can make? I think what he's trying to do is go bishop c6, bishop d5, and try to give a check. But it's not so easy, I must say, because you see any queen trade means the position is equal, close to equal. So check, queen d8. He has to avoid the queen trade at all costs. Queen b7 now with the idea of bishop d5, queen f7. So bishop comes to e5. And Fabi goes bishop to d5, threatening mate in 1 here. And queen to c7. Again blocking. Check. King goes up to e7, and now you've managed to kind of enter in queen g8. So a good progress made here. But at the same time, Hikaru can start running with his king. King d6. Wow, this is getting intense. Bishop e4. And that's where king c5. Check. King b4. Check. King a3. Or king c3. And queen b1. Maybe this king is still in danger. So, Hikaru doesn't go for it. He goes back king e7. Bishop now to g6. Bishop f6 played. Check. King d6. We have another check. King e7. And bishop to f5 played. Black goes bishop e5. And now just simply queen e6 check. King d8 and f4 should do the trick. He goes f4 first, which should also be fine. But you know, queen e6, king d8 and f4 would have been much strong, because after bishop e6, bishop f6, somehow king f1 and it's zugzwang here. But anyway, let's get back to the game. Bishop f6, he goes king g2 and queen d6 played by Hikaru, offering a trade of queens. I think king g2 was not the best move by Fabi. Check, king goes back to f8. And winning this position is going to take some effort. King f3, slowly bringing his king in. Maybe wants to try for this g4, g5 ideas at some point. Hikaru goes queen e7. Queen e4. And he trades queens. This time you can take with the king. It's winning because your king is active. Your king can start moving in. That's the big difference here. He's taken the queen, pawn takes. By the way, Hikaru could have avoided queen trade and kept it difficult for Fabi to win. But anyway, bishop e7 and now e5. He goes bishop b4. Hikaru trying to come back and attack the pawns from behind. Fabi brings bishop to d3. Bishop e1. Opposite colored bishops should be drawn. But this one is an exception, I would say, especially because white is pawn up and has such huge positional edge. King e4, bishop comes to g3 and now f5. And you're going to go king d5 and everything's working out well. He goes king d7, king comes to d5. Well, there was also another way to win. g5, 8g, f6, takes king f5 and just push the pawn. But king d5, he goes bishop h4 and Fabi now blunders with f6. He's made a huge mistake and Hikaru can now hold the game to a draw. Unbelievable after dominating for close to 70 moves or so. 60-65 moves. Takes and now Fabi gives a check. Very important to go to c7. He goes king e7 almost instantly and that's a blunder. If he had played king c7, he would have managed to hold the game. e7, king d7, e8, queen takes, king here and now f5 takes and bishop d8. Holding this together would have been a draw. Not easy, but after king c6, it's over. And look at Hikaru there. He's stunned. He can't believe what he just did. I think he simply missed that he's losing the d pawn. He simply missed it that he could have gone king c7. It would have been such a huge save by Hikaru. And now he just can't believe it. He's shaking his head. Maybe he just missed that his bishop can no longer defend the b6 pawn. And what is turning into a nightmare for him is that he sees that king c7 would have been just a draw. It's such a sad moment for Hikaru. I think firstly, he was so lost. And then secondly, he got his chance. And when the chance came, he usually picks it up. But today was not to be. He did not find his chance at all. And he's shaking his head there. And, well, he wants to just resign. But what to do? Chess is brutal there in that sense. He must take the pawn, I guess. But king takes b6. The c pawn is strong. The a pawn is falling. And Hikaru, well, I think that's the longest I've seen him shaking his head. Takes on e6. And Fabi takes, king takes b6. And now the c pawn is running down the board. He goes to defend the a pawn. But c5 here. And Hikaru, well, he resigns. Fabiano Caruana wins the game. And Hikaru, well, he cannot be very happy with the way he played, but he got a chance in the game. Fabi should be very, very pleased with the way he played. Just this one moment where he completely botched up his chances. And there you can see both the players discussing after the game, which is very nice to see them. you know, uh, doing that. That in spite of his loss, Hikaru not only analyzed this game with Fabi, he even made a YouTube recap. If you haven't seen it, you must definitely check it out. I think it speaks volumes of Hikaru's mental strength that even after such a game, he's able to sort of make the recap, feel good about himself, and I think that's why he is a champion and he'll come back in the tournament. Meanwhile, Fabi made a very strong start here, staying true to his top billing along with Pragnananda and Sindarov. And let's see how this tournament progresses. It's going to be a super exciting candidates, and I hope you enjoyed this recap.